Hey everyone, I'm John Lynn, the founder and chief editor at Healthcare IT Today. We're excited to bring you another in our series of interviews with top leaders in health IT. And our guest today is Anurag Mehta. He's CEO and co-founder at Omega Healthcare. Welcome, Anurag.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited to dive into this discussion. Lots happening in the world of RCM, but before we go there, tell us a little bit about yourself and Omega Healthcare.
Yeah, sure. So I've had a 37-year career. Last 26 have been in revenue cycles, so it's been a long time.
Yeah, quite the evolution, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got into this space where big companies were still pretty small. And there was a lot of consolidation happening. And I started Omega about 23 years ago. So it's been a fun journey. Started with 2 people, and now we're almost 40,000 employees that support the U.S. healthcare industry. It's crazy how the growth, and it's been a lot of fun along the way.
I bet. That's really amazing. Well, here at the HFMA annual conference, no surprise, AI is a major focus of revenue cycle management. What would you say are the biggest opportunities you see for AI to improve RCM today?
Yeah, so as we look to see what is on the forefront and what's happening, we're doing a lot of development ourselves of different technologies to help make the entire process more efficient. So whether it's the front, middle, or back of revenue cycle, each and every area has some level of automation that we're doing, some level of success that we've had with AI in some areas more than others.
Sure.
But I do see a lot of progress from even just 2 years ago till today of ability to really minimize the amount of human effort that's getting that has to be put into getting work done in revenue cycle.
Interesting. I want to hear more about that because I've read you say that the future of RCM is both AI powered, but also expert driven. Like, why is the human element still so important with all this technology that we have?
I think in any industry, the human element is still very important. I will say that even if you look at self-driving vehicles, you still have to pay attention, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the same happens in revenue cycle. You still have to pay attention. You can't let everything just go out without having some human intervention. You're dealing with healthcare information. You're dealing with people's information about their medical issues, and you're having to solve for them and make sure that you're getting paid from the payer. And any mistakes in that means a denial, an underpayment, a whatever the scenario is. There's a ton of friction between the payer and the provider. And mistakes can lead to lots of either denied claims or other things that are going to make it very difficult to get the revenue cycle done. So I think that's part of the reason why there has to be a human layer that continually checks to make sure that the output is still correct.
Interesting. I think a lot of healthcare organizations have invested in automation before over the years, right? And tried to automate different parts of the rev cycle. Like, what makes this current wave of AI maybe different than some of the previous technologies and efforts to automate?
Yeah, so even for us, I think it was all focused around robotic process automation and taking things that are simple tasks and trying to take out the human from doing those simple tasks. And we were pretty successful in doing that. Others were as well. I think there was a lot of movement towards getting RPA going in revenue cycle. So you could use, for example, you could have a system check 100% of the items instead of maybe a human checking 10% in random QA, right? You can do 100% QA because you're utilizing our RPA to get that done. I think why it's different now is that the AI is becoming more, it's reasoning now. It is acting more like a human. So because of that, and with computing power where it is, and the ability to do more of that kind of human type of thinking, I think we're able to do more complex tasks and things that are more or what a human would do versus what, maybe I can just fill in these fields from these fields, right? That's what we used to do, and now we're doing things that are more reasoning.
Yeah, it is the reasoning. I think that's so powerful, and having that basic reasoning is fascinating. Yeah. Where are you seeing maybe the biggest operational or even financial pain points for healthcare organizations in today's revenue cycle environment?
I think if we look at most healthcare organizations across the country, the biggest issue is that, most of them are either marginally making money or losing money.
Sure.
And days cash are down significantly. And the focus is around, well, one, the hospitals have to be more efficient, right? Their entire organization has to be more efficient, but that includes the revenue cycle, right? So if you're not doing a good job on the revenue cycle, or your metrics are off from where they should be, then you're leaving money on the table. You have money sitting in cash or money that's sitting in AR that needs to be cash. There's so many things that can stop you from marginally, like if you're marginally losing money, a little bit of an improvement in your revenue cycle is going to make a huge difference in your ability to pay your bills and to be profitable as a health system.
Yeah, and I've actually heard the other side too from a CFO, where they're like, if we have cash, we can leverage that cash to make more money to help the mission. So, to your point, if you're losing 100%. Money, you're paying interest. If you have cash on hand, you can actually use that to improve.
Look at the credit ratings of a lot of these institutions, right? They are, they're not very good. Right? So when you have that, if you can improve your profitability, you can improve your credit rating, and all of those, everything changes, right? All your metrics change once you get into more EBITDA positive territory.
Absolutely, it makes a huge difference. Yeah. What would you say are some of the most practical AI use cases that are already delivering kind of measurable results for providers?
We're seeing, I think, a little bit on the prior authorization side, making some differences.
Nice.
Being able to use technology to do prior auths versus, humans picking up the phone and calling. We're even having agentic AI and bots that are actually calling the payers and doing, things on the front end. Same on the back end. Utilizing voice that sounds so human-like.
Yeah.
I'm actually blown away by how good it has become. The pauses are different now. They are more sounding like a human is talking. And it was funny, I was listening to a demo that one of our team members had shared. And it was funny, we had called United Healthcare and all the PHI was taken out of the call, so there was a bunch of bleeps in it. But first it was our bot talking to our robot or whatever you want to call it, talking to the IVR of United Healthcare.
Okay.
And that was happening, right? And things were getting done. And then it said, well, I need to transfer you now to a special coordinator to take it on from there. I'm listening to it, and I don't think she realized that the person that came on from United was actually talking to somebody that was not human.
Wow.
And that blew me away. I was like, okay, so far you can feel it, right? When something is calling you, you're getting a robocall, you can kind of tell. It's getting to the point where it's very hard to discern that. So I think, especially in the front and back end with voice technology, and then sure, in the middle rev cycle, there's a lot going on with computer-assisted coding and all of those things that I think are getting better and better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any mistakes that you see healthcare organizations make when they're implementing AI and RCM, and things that you've seen and other organizations could learn from?
I was at a conference maybe about 3-4 months ago, and the CFO said in a forum at this, it was a big round table, he said, AI is everywhere in my organization except the bottom line. He said, everybody's trying stuff out, but it's not all working. And it's not working to the point at which we think we can take cost out. So I think probably one of the mistakes that are happening is, and I don't know if I would call it a mistake, I'd say this is where the state of the union is today. There's 1,000 companies that are AI startups. Everybody's venture backed, everybody's, somebody in some basement somewhere created some tech and said, I can automate this. And now the hospitals are saying, okay, well, let's see what you've got. And they've got 50 different pilots going on, right? And there's all these little companies that have said, I've figured this, or I figured this, and I figured this. I think maybe the mistake is, it's better to go with a company that maybe has created solutions around the entire revenue cycle. Because they have the SMEs, they have the investment in technology, a company like ours, where we have 450 people in our technology development team.
Wow.
It's not a 2-person shop that's figured something out. We are constantly developing things around the sheer volume of things that we do as an organization, because, we're, as I said, almost 40,000 employees with a lot of technology. So the more data you run through the tech, the better it becomes, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we have a lot of data that we run through our technology, which I think gives us an advantage. And I think maybe that's where I see maybe some health systems, they shouldn't be investing, in my opinion, they shouldn't be investing in the technology. They should be investing in clinical care and things like that. They should leave the AI component to experts that really or do this for a living, right?
Yeah.
It's like trying to do your own legal work.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you can hire a bunch of lawyers and you do it, or you can find a firm that does this for a living and gets it done for you. So similarly, I look at revenue cycle that way as well.
Yeah. I've heard it described as we need to package it the right way. Not just, and maybe it's AI, maybe it's connectivity, maybe it's data, whatever it is, but we have to package it in a good way. Similar to what you said, they aren't building chips to create their own iPhone, right? You go and buy the iPhone.
You go buy the iPhone, exactly. Very good point.
That's interesting. Well, as you look ahead, how do you think AI will kind of reshape the revenue cycle workforce, but also workflows over the next couple of years?
So we've seen already probably a 10 to 20% reduction in overall humans needed to do functions.
Okay.
And in some areas more, some areas less. I'd say over the next couple of years, to answer your question, and over the next couple of years, I would say we will see at least another 20% reduction in humans needed to do a lot of these functions. Some areas will be maybe a little bit more, some a little bit less, but I do feel like, so if you start compounding that, from where we started and in a 5-year period, you're looking at anywhere from 30 to 40% of the human component of it taken out. Yeah. And that's where I think we will continue to go. Quality of things will continue to get better, right? Because you have less mistakes and you're checking those mistakes with humans, right? And you're fixing them. And then once you fix them, you would hope, and that's the idea of it, is that once you fix, then you're not going to have that issue again. But payers keep changing where the goalposts are. So, all of those things play into it. But I do think that the future is, we still will play the cat and mouse game with the payers, but I do think we will get better and better and better from a technology perspective.
That's awesome. Well, Anurag, I appreciate you taking time to sit down and talk with us and share your perspectives on this fast-moving world of AI and RCM.
I agree.
Thanks so much. And thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you want to find more great healthcare IT content like this, be sure to check it out at healthcareittoday.com or search for Healthcare IT Today on your favorite podcast applications. Thanks so much.
Thank you.